Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. There are so many benefits and advantages to living out in the country, but one drawback, especially as this school year gets underway, is consistent access to high-speed internet for remote learning. Sunup's Curtis Hare picks up our story in Pawnee County.
The day before the start of a new school year can be stressful. But in a pandemic, the rough waters Oklahoma educators are setting sail on are definitely uncharted.
Our community itself, we've had cases, but we're not seeing the spikes that some of the larger areas do. And part of that, I think, is because we are so rural that we're a little bit separated from some of those issues.
Stacy Womack is the superintendent of Pawnee schools. Although COVID cases are low and her school district is as prepared as it can be for in-person classes, she knows all that could change to distance learning. Virtual learning has its challenges, but for areas like Pawnee County, it's even more difficult and nearly impossible for some families.
Internet access in those areas, incredibly limited. We tried multiple hotspots over the summer, trying to figure out what could we provide to those families that are in those locations. Nothing. We have areas that no hotspot provided any type of internet connection for those areas. And it's a significant number of kids. We're not talking one or two families, we're talking significant numbers of families.
For rural communities, direct fixed access to high-speed internet, or broadband, is either lacking or non-existent, and the coronavirus pandemic is compounding the issue. Many families rely on cellular services to set up hotspots for connectivity. But even in 2020, cell service is not always a given in these areas.
Yeah, I think people that more in the urban areas take for granted their internet access, and they don't realize we're still struggling with internet access out here in the rural areas, having it available or having it fast enough.
For Pawnee County Extension educator Rick Clovis and Extension Director Trinity Brown, it took a pandemic to reveal the lack of broadband or hotspot availability in their area.
When the pandemic started and we had to start working from home, we started to realize the issues that we had with internet.
I mean, we keep a landline in our house because even our cell phone, half the calls are going to get dropped or they're going to be cutting in and out.
I don't have internet at my home, so I was having to hotspot off of my phone, and then having a child that was home from college and she was trying to do her day classes as well, and we struggled with that.
Cellular connection, most of the networks that we are dealing with, we actually have a really good signal here. The FCC actually says that about 98% of everyone has access to broadband, but if you look at the rural versus urban split, it's pretty significant, and in Oklahoma, it's a lot worse.
Brian Whittaker is a rural development specialist for Oklahoma State University Extension. He says only about 61% of Oklahomans in rural communities have broadband access. As this map shows, counties in dark brown have at least 75% of the population going without high-speed internet, and Pawnee County is one of them.
Everyday life is absolutely affected by not having good broadband connection. So if you think about everything you do on a day-to-day basis, you search for a restaurant online, you file a job application online, you do your banking online. It's actually been shown to affect where businesses are going to put new locations.
Limited to no internet is just another issue both rural Oklahoma and rural America face. But it's an issue that hasn't gone unnoticed. Recently, the state Senate appointed Dr. Whittaker to the new Rural Broadband Expansion Council, a group specifically organized to solve this issue.
So, I really appreciate that the legislature is looking into this and realizes that this is an issue. And we actually just had our first meeting 2 days ago for the Rural Broadband Expansion Council, so we're still kind of laying the groundwork.
Access is the main problem for rural areas, but it's not so much physical accessibility as it is affordability.
We might have internet, but there's families out there that just can't afford it. And that's a big challenge, not even during this pandemic, but just everyday life.
The number one reason why a lot of households don't have internet access at home is not because there's not a line running by their house, it's because they can't afford $60, $70, $80 a month for this connection. Low-income households realize the importance of a broadband connection. They know just how disadvantaged they are when they can't have one.
For Stacy, she's confident her schools can adapt to whatever happens. Using CARES funding, her district bought additional Chromebooks and set up hotspots in the school parking lots in the event of a closure. Whatever it takes to make sure her students and their families know they matter.
Even though we're rural, our kids deserve the same education. So I don't want them to look at having a rural education as being a hindrance, but rather something that provides them not only with the tools they need, but additional tools such as that sense of family and belonging that I feel like only comes in a rural district.
In Pawnee County, I'm Curtis Hare.